Hey friends and welcome back. Let's get into another episode of packed meals to take to uni or work with you. All of these are fairly quick to put together and hopefully offer a nice change up to your usual packed meals and snacks. We'll be making 2 breakfast options, one of which can also be a lunch option, and 3 lunches. Let's get started. You might have noticed I've been on a little waffle kick lately, so I thought it was about time to make some breakfast-friendly choc chip waffles. The base is made from buckwheat flour, cocoa powder, baking powder and salt, which I mix together and set to the side for a minute. The buckwheat flour in this recipe provides both more fiber and a little bit more protein than white flour, for instance. And it's also gluten-free, which can of course be useful for some people. For the wet ingredients, I mash up half of a banana using a fork. I then add some soy milk and a spoonful of vinegar and mix this together until there's no lumps of banana left. I add the wet into the dry ingredients and stir until just combined, and then add in some chocolate chips, stirring one more time to fold those in. I add about 2 spoonfuls of the batter at a time. The batter made 5.5 waffles in total for me. On the side here, I'm adding some soy yogurt for dipping or spreading on top of the waffles, adding the waffles into the container too. I definitely could have used another container here, but anyways, you get the idea. Onto the yogurt, I'm also adding some hemp seeds for some extra goodness, and I just have the other banana half on the side. These are perfect for batch cooking as well if you want to make a big portion on the weekend. Feel free to use any method of reheating that is convenient for you, like toasting, the microwave, or adding them into the oven for a couple of minutes. So the next morning, it's not like I was going anywhere, but like I said, I still toasted up those waffles and had the yogurt for dipping, sliced up the banana, and that was a very satisfying breakfast to start the day. Moving on for a savory option, I made some veggie-packed tofu muffins. We'll do a bit of chopping ahead of time using onion, garlic and bell pepper. You want to make sure the veggies are cut quite small here, as they would otherwise break the muffins. Sauté your veggies in a large pan until they're lightly softened, which takes about 5 minutes. For seasonings, I went with lots of thyme, oregano, salt and pepper. I actually recommend over-seasoning your veggies slightly at this point, just to make sure you get lots of flavor once they're mixed with the batter. I set the pan to the side and then turn my attention to the muffin batter, which comes together in a blender. Just a note here, if you have a larger blender, I recommend that. My Vitamix is broken at the moment, so I had to use the food processor and had to push the tofu in there to make it fit, which ended up working, but a larger blender would have made it a lot easier. So as I said, I add 3 blocks of tofu and blend this until it's kind of like a paste before adding in some lemon zest and lemon juice, some turmeric and curry powder. Both of these are for color. And lastly, some Dijon mustard. I blend this once again until the mix has turned kind of yellowish, and then add all of the tofu into the pan with the sautéed vegetables. I just mix it straight in the pan to save some dishes. To the pan, I then also add in some nutritional yeast, which adds a nice cheesy flavor and also acts as a binder, and a bit of chickpea flour to thicken. I also ended up adding a touch more salt and pepper at the end and mixed it together until there was no dry bits of flour left. This makes 12 muffins, so I divided the tofu and veggie mix into the muffin liners and then baked them for around 30 minutes. When it comes to serving, there's 2 options here. You could serve them as they are with some crackers or pretzels on the side if you were to pack them as a snack or for breakfast. Or if you want a full meal for lunch, you could serve them on a salad with some bread. This bagel with mayo, mustard and a cut up muffin on top was so good. Highly recommend. Okay, the first lunch we're making today is a creamy pasta salad with crispy tofu bits. I had some pre-cooked pasta already, so therefore went straight to making the tofu pieces, cutting some smoked tofu into small cubes. This went into a frying pan with some oil, and I fried it for probably like 10 minutes, stirring every once in a while before adding in some smoked paprika and then deglazing the pan with some soy sauce. Both of these add a nice bacon-ish flavor to the tofu, at least in my opinion. I haven't had bacon in years, but I think it tastes like bacon, kind of. After another 2 minutes of frying, I turn off the heat and set the pan to the side. In the meantime, I cut up some veggies. So some cucumber, dill and fresh parsley were my veggies of choice. But you can of course use whatever you've got on hand. Into a large mixing bowl, I then add the pre-cooked pasta, the chopped cucumber and herbs, and lastly that crispy tofu. The last thing to be made is the creamy sauce, for which I'm adding some nutritional yeast, tahini, Dijon mustard, lemon juice, thyme, oregano and salt to a small bowl, and I mix it together before adding a splash or two of water. You definitely want the sauce to be a bit more on the runny side if you're taking this on the go, because the pasta will absorb some of it as it sits. I drizzle the sauce all over the veggies and the pasta and mix it together, giving it a taste to see if it needs anything. I did end up adding a bit more salt and pepper. Of course, you can also just mix it straight in the container to save some dishes. And that is lunch number 1 done. I feel like a couscous salad is such a classic packed meal, but for a good reason. It's quick to make, it's versatile and delicious. So for my version today, I'm starting by soaking the couscous in some vegetable broth powder and boiling water, and setting this to the side to cook for a few minutes. I then chop up my add-ins for this dish, those being some cherry tomatoes, parsley, radishes and red onion. So I then add the couscous, some cooked lentils and all of the chopped veggies into a large bowl. Before making the dressing, I just used a store-bought red pesto for this. I much prefer red pesto to a green pesto, but use what you like the most. I mix this with some lemon zest and the juice from half a lemon and add a splash of water to create a pourable consistency like this. I add all of that delicious dressing into the couscous, give it a good mix and then add it into a container to enjoy the next day. And that's lunch number 2 done. Such a quick one. The idea for these curried chickpea pockets comes from the lovely people at Pickup Limes. I adjusted the recipe to suit my personal taste, and I just love how it turned out. Start by frying off some onion, garlic and carrot in a pan, and then after a few minutes you can add in your spice mix. Fry for another minute before adding tomato paste, some chickpeas, a bit of water and some peanut butter or tahini or coconut cream, whatever you like best. Give it a mix and let it thicken for a few minutes. While that's cooking, you can prep the dough. I used a store-bought pizza dough for this, which I cut into large triangles like so. I fill all of the triangles with the spiced chickpea mix and then close them off, folding over the edge, and I seal them like this. You can also use a fork to seal the edges, that's probably a bit easier. I get these into a preheated oven for around 18 to 20 minutes and then let them cool slightly before serving. Since the filling is quite saucy, they don't actually need a dipping sauce in my opinion, but feel free to add any sides that you like or even serve them on top of a salad. And that is the last lunch done. That was another round of packed meal ideas for uni or work. Hopefully you found at least one option that you can try out at home. I will certainly be enjoying these meals throughout the next couple of days. Have a great week and I'll see you soon.